Good evening. We are back with Tennis Talk Daily. I am your personal tennis talker, Aaron Knapp, and we are covering the Australian Open in as much depth, with as much insight, and with as much enthusiasm as we possibly can. And I just wanted to reflect just a little bit on this Federer match. Remember to subscribe to the channel because we love Federer at this channel, first of all. That's our first premise. Roger Federer is the greatest athlete that has ever graced the face of the earth. That's our first premise. But we know that tennis is a fantastic sport and that it is the ultimate test. I think it's the ultimate test, athletic test in a way. There's a mental element, but it's one-on-one. It's one person against one person, and the best player wins. There's no fucking politics. It's the best player that wins. And the other day in the second round, Roger Federer prevailed over this individual Struff. And it was, as I reflect on it more, a fantastic match. He did ultimately prevail and get the better of this guy. But you know what? This guy attacked. He was on the attack, this Struff guy. And you know what? He came to the net an unprecedented amount of times. It's unprecedented, I think. It's like the world fucking record. And he was doing it well. I mean, he was playing some amazing tennis, and to watch Roger Federer fend him off was astounding. It's astounding that the 36-year-old man, and he did it with ease, grace, and beauty. There were a few unforced errors, but this match was a testament to the greatness, the eternal greatness of Roger Federer. And it, to me, this may sound a little strange to some of you, but I think in some sense that he just won the championship. There is one sense, I'm trying to see this line through to the championship. I think that the Roger Federer we saw today, warts and all in a way, because that backhand's coming back, but the Federer we saw today, mentally, he just won the Australian Open. Okay, we'll see what happens. That's my feeling. That's the feeling in my soul right now. Let's talk a little bit more. Listen, we started with 128 tennis players. We are now, just a few days later, there has been so much carnage in this tournament that we are now down to 32 men on the men's side. We started with 128. In fact, it was more than 128, wasn't it? With the qualifying, I mean, it's just mass, and all of them are fantastic tennis players. Each one of these people, God bless each one of these players, each one in that 128 particularly, they all kick ass, if you ask me. They can't be the greatest, and there is a cream to this crop. But listen, the third round matches are going to be very interesting. The Nadal match it's basically it's a third round that the Australian Open anticipated. It's the way they set it up. He is the 28th seed, the opponent of Nadal's in that match, Zuzmar. And then there's going to be a Diego Schwartzman versus a Dolgopolov match in the third round, which will be very interesting. There's going to be the Marin Cilic versus Ryan Harrison match. Cilic is playing good. I've said this. No one else is talking about Cilic for some reason. He's got a demonstrate. Nick Kyrgios doesn't have any demonstrated ability to win a Grand Slam. Marin Cilic, by contrast, has an ability to win a Grand Slam. He's kind of like Del Potro, but Del Potro, people have more confidence in, but we need to keep a close eye on Cilic. For that matter, we need to keep a close eye on Ryan Harrison, too, because he's been playing well, and he could pull a bit of an upset. Then we're going to have this Dimitrov versus Rublev third round match. This is going to be so interesting. They've only played once. And Rublev, the Russian youngster, beat Grigor Dimitrov at the 2017 U.S. Open, their only time that they've ever met. So you have to be, if you're Grigor Dimitrov, you have to be a little bit scared, a little bit nervous coming into this match, particularly after you get bageled by the American Mackenzie McDonald, was it, the other day. But listen, Dimitrov needs to really think about this match and needs to really, be 100% if he's going to get past this youngster. Rublev is completely capable of pulling off an upset, and like I said, in their only meeting, they only met once, and Rublev beat Dimitrov. So that's very significant. We're going to see Nick Kyrgios and Nick Kyrgios versus Tsonga, which is, again, I mean, this is another one. They've only met once, and Tsonga is ahead in that one. Tsonga prevailed in that one just last year. So that's interesting if you're Nick Kyrgios as well. It's going to be an interesting and close match, a fascinating third round. Then we're going to have Kyle Edmund, the British number two, who has been doing very well. He's into a third round guy whose last name I don't even want to try to pronounce. Bashilashvili. I'm sorry, I've seen his name before, but I've never attempted to pronounce it. The other third round match that's worthy of note is this Seppi versus Karlovic, Karlovic is the big server, and that's going to be interesting because he's going to get pretty much a free pass into the quarterfinals, where he's going to have to deal with one of these other big guns, Kyrgios, Tsonga, Dimitrov, or Rublev. So, in the quarterfinal, exactly. So then we have the Thiem Manarino third round that's coming up. That's going to be, third round's going to take a couple of days. Of course, we have Djokovic versus Ramos Vinolas, and that is going to be a good match as well. I don't have the head-to-head on that, but I'm not going to go through them all. The only other one is the Berdych. Well, I got two other ones, the Berdych and the Del Potro match in the third round. This should be interesting. They have met 8 times, Del Potro and Berdych. And Del Po has prevailed 5 of the 8 times, and Berdych has prevailed 3 of those times. So it determines who Federer is going to see in the quarterfinals. And if you're a Federer fan, I've said this before. If you're a Federer fan, you want to see Berdych in that quarterfinal against Federer rather than Del Po, because Federer has an easier time with Berdych. Of course, Federer will be playing Gasquet in the third round. That's a 16-2 record, I believe, with Federer doing very well against Gasquet in the past, very, weighted in favor of Federer. He is going to prevail in that. And again, the big hump for Federer. I do think he sort of won the tournament today, just with the way, the spirit, the power, the defense, the unwillingness to let this guy in. This dude on the other side of the court today, people, was giving Roger Federer a hard time. He was just attacking. He was coming up to the net so much, and then he was doing well at the net. It was astounding. But Matt over at Coffee Break Tennis thinks this might be like a breakthrough of how to get to Federer. The problem is Federer won, and he did so without a backhand that was fully functional and firing on all cylinders. So I kind of have slight reservations about Matt's proposition. In any case, subscribe to the channel. We're doing tennis talk. I'm committed to be your personal tennis talker, and to please comment as well. I want to hear the comments. Give it a thumbs up if you like what you hear, and we shall talk very soon. In the morning, again, we're going to have a Christmas present. Merry Christmas, and we're going to know a lot more information about where the Australian Open is going. Again, the third round is going to take a little while. I think it's going to maybe take a day. Are they going to try to squeeze this into one day? We'll have to see. I have to look at the schedule again, but it is very, very, it's turning out to be a very, very exciting tournament, and I look forward to talking about it more with you during Talk Tennis Daily. Talk later. Bye.